Today we are going to discuss one enlightenment thinker, David Hume, who gave a very, very powerful theory of ethics. His theory explains two things. Why people are moral. What constitutes morality? Hume said that these questions can be answered on the basis of man's sensory experience. He was trying to say that what is ethical is not arrived through reasoning or a dialectical method or a cognitive method, but what is ethical is felt. People don't hold an assembly and conduct a discussion on what is ethical, or not Socratic method is followed. But people feel what is ethical and what is not ethical. How can one say that? Hume says people have sympathy. They have sympathy. Not should have, but have. Hume is talking about ease. Hume is talking about ease, not ought. Hume is not like Jesus or Socrates. He is not talking about what man ought to do. Hume is a scientist of human mind. He is talking about what man is. He is saying he has sympathy. He is not saying he should have sympathy. And that sympathy he has is a foundation for ethics. What is a virtue and what is a vice, or what is a higher virtue and what is a lower virtue, all can be worked out on man's ability to sympathize. Let us explain this with the help of an example. You are working in an office. Your colleague says that he hasn't done any mistake, but boss shouted at him, boss abused him. Your colleague says, I haven't done any mistake, but boss shouted at me. And he tells this to you. He tells this to you. And what do you feel? Boss didn't shout at you. Only your colleague was shouted at. He's just your colleague. May not be your friend even. But then you feel bad. You feel boss shouldn't have. And if you think boss shouldn't have done that, that is, he shouldn't have abused when your colleague hasn't done any mistake, then abusing when there is no mistake will be called vice. There is no reasoning, no Socratic discussion. You will feel that way. You feel. This is sympathy. This hasn't happened to you, but to your colleague. But when you get to know, this is what you feel. So sympathy is feeling of unpleasantness when something bad is done, or when you feel something unpleasant, then it is vice. You are feeling unpleasant though it is not done to you. It's not like feeling unpleasant if you fail in the exam. It's not like that. You are getting to know from your colleague. Suppose your colleague explains that he has done something wrong and boss abused. Boss shouted it. Done wrong, boss shouted. Done wrong, boss shouted. So when you get to know this, you feel, okay, maybe your colleague shouldn't have done the mistake, and you will feel that you won't repeat that mistake. So you won't say what boss has done is a vice. Not vice. But your colleague has done something wrong, but boss did not shout. Far from shouting, he was very kind and explained how in future such a thing shouldn't be done. He was very forgiving, understanding and caring. So when you get to know about this from your colleague, you feel boss is really a great man. So that behavior you will say the virtue. Forgiveness, virtue. Abuse, vice. Right punishment, okay. All these things are based on sympathy. So what is happening to you, the way you react, is the way any other would react. So Hume found that the basic foundation for ethics is sympathy, which is there in each one of us. Sympathy is a sensory experience. So out of this sensory experience, what is moral, what is immoral, what is a virtue, what is a vice, what is just, what is not just, are being generated. There is no society without ethics. There is no man without sympathy. So Hume proposed this in the context that, according to his understanding, some people proposed reasoning as the origin of ethics. That people reason out and then see this is how society should consider a virtue or a vice. But Hume says it's not through reason, it's not a cognitive process. It is through sympathy. That what is ethical, what is not ethical, or what is even a higher virtue or a lower virtue. For example, if this is a lower virtue, this is a higher virtue. Forgiveness is a higher virtue. Just punishment may be taken as a lower virtue. So, what is a higher virtue, lower virtue? Will be can be decided on the basis of man's ability to feel sympathy. So, if man is ethical, man is able to find out what is ethical, it is his sympathy. If the society is arriving at what is ethical, it's again sympathy. So, out of sensory experience, ethics are generated. So, this is what Hume said. Probably this may be extended to see that suppose somehow if a man loses sympathy or his sympathy got damaged, then it may be difficult for him to be ethical, and that may explain certain abnormal cases of criminality.